This didn't happen to me, but to my friend Alex. He told me this in a quiet, breaking voice, smoking one cigarette after another, and I believe him. He's not the type to make things up. It all started after he moved. He was renting an old Khrushchev-era apartment on the outskirts of the city. It was cheap, and for good reason. First floor, an old building, a dark courtyard. But Alex needed to move out quickly, and he agreed. The first few days were normal. Besides, something strange. At night, he heard quiet footsteps in the hallway. Not just footsteps, but shuffling ones, as if someone in slippers several sizes too big was slowly pacing back and forth. Alex chalked it up to an elderly neighbor. Then came the smell, a faint, barely noticeable smell of damp earth and something rotten, something Swedish. It lingered in the hallway, especially by the front door. It was as if someone was bringing it in from the street. One night, Alex woke up with the feeling that he wasn't alone. The apartment was in complete, oppressive silence, but he was frozen with animalistic terror. He lay there, unable to move, and then he heard it, a quiet, barely audible scrape at the door. Not a knock, not a clawing, but a scrape, as if someone was dragging a blunt knife across the wood. Once, a pause, another. Alex froze, his heart hammering in his throat. The scrape came again, more insistent this time. He didn't know what compelled him to go to the door. Some hypnotic, inexplicable force. He slowly approached and peered through the peephole. It was dark outside. Someone was standing right against the door, blocking the view. But not entirely. At the very bottom, near the floor, the light from the hallway bulb seeped through the gap under the door, and Alex saw shadows, the shadows of the feet of whoever was standing on the other side. They were unnaturally long and thin, and they weren't still. The shadows of the feet were slowly, rhythmically shifting from one to the other. The thing scraping at his door was just shifting its weight, like a person who is cold and trying to warm up. But the shadows themselves were terrifyingly misshapen. Alex recoiled and fled to his room, stuffing his fingers in his ears. After a few minutes, the scraping stopped. The next morning, he found long, shallow scratches on the doorframe at about waist height, as if someone had been dragging something hard and sharp across it. This happened for several more nights. The scraping, the shadows, the smell of damp earth. Alex was losing his mind. He hung an icon on the door, but it didn't help. On the contrary, that night, the scraping turned into furious, angry blows against the entire surface of the door, making the glass in the cabinet rattle. He called the former landlady, an old woman who had moved in with her daughter. At first, she was evasive, but then, hearing the genuine panic in his voice, she relented. "Son," she said in a tired voice, "I lived there for 30 years, and my father before me. It didn't come for you. It always came for me. It's just checking to see if I've come back." What is it?" Alex managed to squeeze out. She was silent for a moment. "Papa said that when they moved in the 50s, during construction, someone fell into the foundation, and they didn't dig them out. It would have taken too long, been too complicated. They just poured the concrete over them. He said that the one down there sometimes wakes up, comes out, looks for his family, or just wants to come in and get warm. It knocks on the door closest to it. 2 hours that same night, Alex didn't go to sleep. He sat in the living room with the lights on and stared at the door. And exactly at 3 in the morning, the scraping came, weak, persistent, full of longing. Alex couldn't take it anymore. He jumped up and screamed, pressing his forehead against the door. "Go away. She's not here. She's not here anymore." The scraping stopped. A dead silence fell, and then Alex, he doesn't know why, looked through the peephole again. This time, the corridor was empty. The light bulb was burning. He was about to turn away when his gaze fell downward. Right in front of the door, on the floor, lay a small pile of earth, damp, cold earth, from which a few wilted blades of grass and small stones stuck out. And in the dirt was a clear imprint, the imprint of a bare human foot. But it was too long and narrow, with claw-like, splayed toes. Alex moved out of that apartment the next day. He left the entire deposit and even some of his things. He said the main thing was to get away from there. But sometimes, especially on rainy nights, he wakes up because he thinks he hears quiet, shuffling footsteps outside his window, and he smells a faint, barely perceptible scent of damp earth. He says it understood that the landlady isn't coming back, and now it's looking for the one who knows about it, the one who saw it.